Okay, let's give it a test. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the jumper in. It only lasts a little bit. And off it goes. Okay. Whoops, it actually slipped off there. Probably make it turn more, right? There as well. So you can see, in fact, I'll turn it off and we'll make a quick edit on the code and see if I can make that better. Come up here. And I'm going to plug this guy in. Of course, he's going to start moving. You'll hear it, although that screen is off right now. And I'm going to change it, so I'm going to make it go in reverse, like say 200 and 200. And I think I'll make it turn for even longer. Let's go 400. Alright. Leave everything else the same. Upload it. Alright, I'm going to unplug it. Take it back down to the playing field and see if we have an improvement here. This is the kind of thing you have to do over and over and over again. Yeah, see, it still was able to. Ah, it got itself back on. Yeah, that time it slipped off. So you'd probably want to even make it back up further. But the other thing we have to do, and we're going to get to, is controlling the actual speed of the motors. So let's take a quick look here. I'm going to turn this camera off. Turn this camera off. Bring back this camera. And we're almost there. Hopefully. There we go. Now she's back. Put this here. So what you end up doing is you end up playing with these values. Alright? You'll also notice, I think when I originally left you, I had it set at 400. Well, the first time I put it down, it just didn't see it. Okay? It drove right over it on, I think it was the left sensor. So I decided, well, okay, maybe down here on the floor, running on batteries, which can change a little bit of this behavior, I decided to knock it on down to 350. So I've set it so it thresholds on it earlier. Okay? And then you just saw me play with this, where it threw it in reverse and then turned left for 400. Well, you know, it's starting to look like maybe it should turn into reverse even further. So if it hits it, back up for a while longer, then make a turn. Maybe the turn needs to be greater. I will also say, as a rule of thumb, I almost never do what I just did here. See, I have both of these going the same amount of time. Well, if you think about it, if the robot drives itself into a corner, okay, like that, and then over here on the right side, I've hit a value where I hit the black line. On the left side, I've hit the black line. Well, the robot can end up doing one of these things where it just drives in, backs up, turns, drives in, backs up, turns, drives in, backs up, turns, drives in, backs up, turns. And it finds itself in a corner that it simply can't get out of because it's bounced back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. To avoid that from happening, I really should have made one of the turns greater so that if it does drive directly into a corner, it will always turn further in one direction. So in the worst case, it'll do is bang into it, back up, bang in, back up, but eventually rotate itself out and take off. In way more advanced programming, which gets to be a lot of fun, is I could put in a variable, let's say. In fact, this would be a great homework assignment. Put in a variable, and every time the robot hits one of these values, okay, like the right or the left, it adds 1 to that variable. So let's say you have a variable called stuck, okay? And if it hits this, it says stuck 1. Hits it, stuck 2. Hit stuck 3. Hit stuck 4. Hit stuck 5. Hit stuck 6. Okay? You also have another if-then statement down here. And that if-then statement would say, if stuck is greater than, say, 10, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to throw this thing into full reverse for about a whole second and then spin it, you know, to the right for some period of time and break the stuck cycle. Then I'm going to reset stuck back down to 0, and it will start this process over again. The other thing you'd probably want to do is right here on the forward, okay, assuming that everything is going great, you want it to actually start removing values from stuck, okay? So if it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then eventually it got to 8, okay, and then it broke itself free, well, then it would go to the forward, and then it would take a stuck is equal to stuck minus 1, and then start subtracting values from stuck, all right? And because of that, you can then break those kinds of loops. So I'm anxious to get moving on. I think the next thing I'm going to do is put feelers on the robot, and we're going to have it so it can feel another robot, because what I want to do is have at least 2 robots in this arena and staying inside the black square, and if one bumps into the other, it turns into it and aggressively tries to push it out. Okay, so I'm going to end this one at a little more than 6 minutes, and I will see you again soon.